10 dupes that are so good you don't need the original. I love this idea of a video, so let's get right into it. First up is Amphar 1950, which is inspired by Louis Vuitton's Stellar Times. So I actually really enjoy the original Stellar Times by Louis Vuitton. I think it's a really nice orange blossom and amberous type of scent. It's very, very rich. It has a good amount of sweetness to it, has really good longevity and projection. Out of the entire X-Straight line, I think it's one of the better offerings. However, it is $600. I think even more than $600, which is obviously completely inaccessible for most folks. Mabel does a very good job of getting very close to the original DNA, and I honestly think it takes the DNA in what might be considered a bit more of a mass appealing direction. It's a little bit lighter, not so much in terms of projection, but like the thickness of it. I feel like Stellar Times almost feels like a sweet orange blossom amber syrup in the texture of the overall profile, whereas this feels like a regular liquid, like a regular oil or water type of liquid. So it feels lighter in that type of way, but it still has really great projection. It's still very sweet. It doesn't have the same richness of the original Stellar Times, but it's a beautiful scent. And I truly can see a lot of people liking it even more. At the very least, I would say it's a great alternative for Stellar Times, especially at that price point. This is the best one that I have smelled thus far for this particular fragrance. Next up, we've got Atralia Sugar Mallow, which is inspired by Kayali Young Bougie Marshmallow. So normally when someone is asking me for a recommendation for a good dupe for Young Bougie Marshmallow, I usually go to Pink Blush by Ardal Zafran, which is a sister company of Lattafa. It's a great, great fragrance. However, I've recently been wearing Sugar Mallow a lot more, and I actually think this one lasts even longer than Pink Blush. The reason why I enjoy Pink Blush so much is because it has better projection and longevity than the original Young Bougie Marshmallow. I love this DNA, but I do not think that it lasts very well on me, on my skin. So that's what introduced me to Pink Blush. And this one is just punching a little bit more than even Pink Blush is. So it's a fantastic option. There are some people who feel like this one has a little bit less strawberry. I would agree with that, but however, I don't think that the reduction in strawberry is very noticeable. Like, I think you really have to almost look for that. It's still going to be, in my opinion, almost identical to the original Young Bougie Marshmallow, and the performance on this is stellar. Next up, we've got Afnan's Cherry Bouquet, which is inspired by Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. So I hate the original Tom Ford Lost Cherry. I hate that thick, syrupy, medicinal, Robitussin type of cherry that people love so much about this fragrance. And I hate Cherry Bouquet by Afnan equally, for the exact same reasons, which tells me they're almost identical. I really think that these smell incredibly close to each other. Just this is a lot cheaper. I also love the packaging of Cherry Bouquet. The entire bouquet line from Afnan, I think their bottles, that style is really nice. I mean, Afnan in general, I think, makes some overall really nice bottles. But anyways, if you like the syrupy, sweet cherry type of vibe from Lost Cherry, I know it's a very, very popular DNA. It's just not my style. But if you like that, I'd highly recommend checking out Cherry Bouquet. If you're looking for a cheaper alternative, it really, really is very close. And like most Middle Eastern dupes, it lasts longer. Next up, we've got Kiana Vibes, which is inspired by La Bomba by Carolina Herrera. Now, if you know me at all, you know that La Bomba was my favorite release in 2025 in terms of designer fragrances. I love the sharp, sweet, punchy pitahaya note combined with the tropical frangipani, and the gorgeous patchouli and vanilla dry down is just phenomenal to me. And normally when someone is asking me for a more affordable alternative to La Bomba, because I get it, she can be a pricey one, I usually have been recommending Intensely Seductive by Oudwear. And I still, to this day, I still believe that this is the closest to the original La Bomba dupe that I have smelled in terms of the actual smell and in terms of the performance. I really think it's on par with the original. However, Afnan Kiana Vibes to me is better than the original La Bomba. Like, I like the DNA of this fragrance more than the original. It has an added pear note in the opening, along with added musk in the heart. And just the way that they've done this fragrance to me just smells a little bit sweeter, a little bit more full body than the original La Bomba, and it has better projection on my skin than both Intensely Seductive and La Bomba. So I can't think of any reason as to why I wouldn't pick this up. As much as I love the original La Bomba, I can't think of a situation to where I would tell someone, yeah, you should still get the original. Unless you're someone who just says you don't do dupes and you really want the original La Bomba, you love the bottle, then for that person, I would say, well, then get the original. But aside from that, I think Kiana Vibes or Intensely Seductive, if you're looking for the original but at a cheaper price point, is going to be where it's at. Next up, we've got Mykonos Inception, which is inspired by Louis Vuitton Imagination. So as soon as Mykonos became available in the US, I bought a bunch of Mykonos fragrances. That video will be coming very soon for me to break down their scents and why it really could be one of the best dupe houses on the market. So stay tuned for that one. But anyways, Imagination, gorgeous, incredibly popular, citrusy tea fragrance that has everyone in a chokehold, especially the TikTok bros. So normally when someone is asking for a schmoopity schmoop of Imagination, I have been recommending Arabiat Prestige's Marwa. This fragrance right here, which I still think is fantastic. But what I've always said about this fragrance is that it does lean a bit more masculine than even the original Imagination. It has a bit more of a harsher tone, but it has phenomenal performance. I now feel that Inception by Mykonos is even better, especially if you're someone who doesn't like the extra harshness that you can get in the Arabiat Prestige Marwa. You want it to still smell very close to the original Imagination, but with great longevity. Inception is where it's at. It's phenomenal. Nothing bad to say about this at all. I think it has dethroned Marwa for me as the best schmoop for Imagination. It's now Inception by Mykonos. Next up, we've got Maison Alhambra's Mia Dolcezza Verde, which is inspired by the Valentino Green Extravaganza. Now, the Green Extravaganza, out of all the Valentino fragrances, is my favorite. So I can't do this fragrance dirty and lie to you and tell you that Mia Dolcezza Verde is better than Valentino or even a one-to-one. It is not. It is not as rich in the vanilla. And I also think that it's not as sweet as the original Valentino, which is surprising, right? Because usually the Middle Eastern dupe is sweeter. But no, this is sweeter and the vanilla is richer. However, I still think that that is me, who is someone who loves the original Valentino, who really wants something to be a one-to-one, to say that. I still think for most regular human beings on this planet who are not, overly obsessive like I am, are gonna find this to be a perfectly suitable alternative for the price point. I mean, you can get this literally for less than like 25 bucks in most places, in comparison to a 1.7 fluid ounce size bottle of the Green Extravaganza, which is gonna be more than $100. In today's economy, this is gonna be good for most people. And it still does manage to capture the overall scent profile in a very nice way, and the longevity is there. And who knows, maybe in time, it'll be a little bit richer and sweeter, I don't know. As it stands, it's not, but it's still incredibly close to the original. Next up, we've got Afnan's Delicious Bouquet, which is inspired by Devotion by Dolce & Gabbana. So I love me some Devotion. Beautiful lemon pound cakey smell with some rum, gorgeous. The projection and longevity on this one is okay, which is why I upgraded to Devotion Intense, because I think the performance is even better and has an added hazelnut note. Delicious Bouquet, in my opinion, is such a good dupe that not only is it closer to the Devotion DNA than most of the other dupes on the market, but I think it's actually so strong that it's closer to the Intense version. The longevity and projection is truly on par with the Intense version to me. And unlike a lot of other Devotion dupes on the market, it doesn't just focus on the lemon aspect. It does give you, I think, more of the full journey of the scent profile in terms of that rich booziness, the warmth of the fragrance, along with, of course, the candied lemon. It is delicious. Highly recommend checking this one out. And again, just like the Cherry Bouquet, this bottle by Afnan is also just super gorgeous. Next up, we've got Rifaquat by Paris Corner, which is inspired by YSL Baby Cat. YSL Baby Cat is a true masterpiece to me. I know it's a very polarizing scent. Some people pick up gasoline with this fragrance, which I can understand that. But as a vanilla psychopath, self-diagnosed, God, I love that rich, spicy, dark Catwoman style of a vanilla scent. It is phenomenal. But of course, it's on the pricey side. Rifaquat by Paris Corner, I think, tones down the spiciness, the intensity of the fragrance a little bit and makes it a little bit sweeter. I don't think it lasts quite as long as the original YSL Baby Cat on my skin, but again, it's a beautiful fragrance. And I think for most people, because the spiciness is toned down a little bit and there's a little bit of additional sweetness, it's not a lot. You really got to compare it to even pick up those differences. But I think it's going to be a bit more of a mass appealing DNA. And I think for the price point, it's a phenomenal, phenomenal vanilla to have in your arsenal for an absolute fraction of the price. Really, to me, one of Paris Corner's best inspired schmoopity schmoops, because this fragrance to me is just so interesting and complex and unique. They did a really, really good job with Rifaquat by Paris Corner. Next up, we've got Paris Corner's Dulzura Vanilla Envy, which is inspired by Louis Vuitton's Phantasmagorie. Now, this fragrance has really surprised me over the past, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks that I've had it, because I already talked about another Phantasmagorie dupe that I love. This one is Rome Phantasmagorie from Barada. And why I like this one is because it's very strong, very intense, a really, really rich almond note, and it really projects and lasts a lot longer than the original Phantasmagorie, but doesn't have the same funkiness that I smell in the original Phantasmagorie from Louis Vuitton. So because I tend to like strong beast mode fragrances, when I heard that this was coming out and that it was a lighter version, I didn't really think that I was gonna be that excited about it. But what I've realized is that right now, the season that I'm in is, warm, spring, summertime vibes. And that's when I tend to like my softer profiles of my vanillas. I don't need my vanillas to be super beast mode right now. And this is perfect for that. I think the Barada Rome Phantasmagorie is great in colder weather when you really, really want a strong fragrance to cut through, the cold air, if you're outside or something like that, or you want it to really last on you all day. And if you're okay with a more intense almond note, which can be off-putting to some people, I love it, but it can be too intense for some people. If you want the scent that is going to smell closer to the original Phantasmagorie without the funkiness, but have an overall lighter projection, but still have better longevity. Hopefully that makes sense. Lighter projection than Barada, no funky note added, but better longevity on skin is what the Vanilla Envy from Paris Corner is gonna give you. I've only had this for a few weeks and the dent does not lie. This has been one of my favorite go-to cozy scents. It just smells so delicious and very, very fluffy. The Barada Rome Phantasmagorie is a lot denser, which again helps with the longevity and projection. But this one is a fluffier one and you can really overspray it if you wanna build up the intensity. It's gorgeous. It's really, really gorgeous. I love them both. I think they both have a place in my collection for the reasons that I've already described. But if you haven't already tried this, highly recommend it. Next up, we've got Vanille Blanc by Cuddlage, which is inspired by Fleur Vanilla Skin. Now, usually when I talk about Vanille Blanc, I describe it as like a hybrid between Vanilla Skin and Ariana Grande Plush Vanilla because it has like the extra sweetness that I feel like you get from the Ariana Grande fragrance. But I do think that overall, it probably takes most of its inspiration from Vanilla Skin. Without talking to the brand directly, that's my assessment on the matter. I really feel like Vanille Blanc has perfected the Vanilla Skin or Ariana Grande Plush vanilla DNA, at least for me and for a lot of other people. This is a very popular scent for good reason. It's sold out in a lot of places for good reason. First of all, the projection and longevity of Vanilla Skin Fleur is not stellar on my skin. It's not the most, greatest performing scent on the market for me from the brand, unfortunately, even though I love the DNA. I love the extra sweet, powdered sugariness that you get from this fragrance. It's just so good. A musky, sweet, but not gourmand vanilla that still has a fluffy profile. I love sugar, I love vanilla, and I love fluffy airiness with a little bit of woodiness. I also think that it's toned down. Some of the woodiness that you get in the original Vanilla Skin, it's still there, but I think because of the additional sweetness from the powdered sugar, it just comes off, to me, a little bit more mass appealing, but still a very sensual and sexy vanilla scent. And again, one of the few fragrances that my husband gives a 9 out of 10 to. He didn't give a 9 out of 10 to the original Fleur one. So, I said what I said. So no shade to any of the brands that were mentioned in this video. I'm simply trying to offer up more affordable alternatives to people so that they can enjoy and grow their fragrance collections in a lot more accessible way than I think is available, especially in today's economy. So let me know, guys, which of these you have tried or which ones you might be looking to try. And I'll see you guys back tomorrow for our next episode.